this is an opportunity for you to don't let up on the gas, but push on the gas pedal. Some of my Decembers have been my best sales months ever. So hopefully today you'll look at the process on the sheet that you have with you. You'll start to follow it. And it's similar to a PowerPoint program that you put together. The first time you go through it, it's not as smooth. But as you practice it and practice it and practice it, it becomes a way of life. It becomes a very smooth way for you to talk with your clients, really find out, because it's ultimately about what you can do for your clients. I'm in the technology field, and unfortunately sometimes I bring engineers with me to meetings, and they're so smart, but what they give to people is what I call techno-vomit. They're so smart, they want to just dump all this information on the client, and what's important is finding out what your client needs, what your constituent needs, and then address that like a laser shot. On my notes I talk about Happy New Year. There's a friend of mine who got married in her 60s. Her and her husband weren't sure they were going to ever be able to celebrate their 25th wedding anniversary. So what they do is they celebrate their anniversary every month. As salespeople, I can't tell you how often I get off track. Probably hourly. We're bombarded by 10,000 pieces of information a day. So what I try to do, and what I'm giving you the permission to do, is declare any day you want to be New Year's. Think about the resolutions we make. Think about how energized we are on January 2nd, and it slowly fades by January 14th. So what I try to do is the first of every month is a new year for me, because that makes me sit down and figure out, go over my sales plan, look at my pipeline, figure out, am I headed in the right direction? I believe they say 90% of all airplanes, when they take off, have to readjust. And I think that's something that we need to do. An interesting technique that just blows my mind is something called mirroring. Who's heard of mirroring? What this enables you to do, it's a psychological principle that says that if I sit the way you sit, and I talk the way you talk, we will create a connection. About 10 years ago, I had an opportunity to close $1 million sale. And I just heard about mirroring. I was going to sell a manufacturer's product. The manufacturer called me and said, I want to come visit you. I said, great. He's probably going to tell me how wonderful I am. So we came into this meeting. I sat there with the CEO of our company, the VP of sales, and myself, and this manufacturer. He proceeded to tell us that Harris was also involved in this deal, and that they were their top customer. And this guy was not going to sell us the hardware for this $1 million deal. I just learned about mirroring, and I was a little bit in a panic because I had already spent the commission money. So this guy was sitting there, typical kind of arms crossed, legs crossed. So I crossed my legs, I crossed my arms, and something weird, really strange happened, is that he went from, I'm not going to sell you this product, to do you really think you're going to get an order, to when are you going to get an order, to let's go golfing. It blew me away. I had no idea. And within 3 weeks I had my $1 million order. This relationship was changed. A lot of people talk about when you see someone with crossed arms, they're trying to block you. It may be something that people do to relax, or maybe it's something psychologically that says, I don't want to buy anything from you. I don't want to listen to you. Try this with the next person you see that has crossed arms. You cross your arms. it's very uncomfortable to see somebody with their arms crossed. Within about 20 seconds, they will uncross their arms. And now all of a sudden you have an opportunity to really speak into their soul. If you'll do an experience, Marco, cross your arms. If Marco doesn't want to uncross his arms, I'm going to hand him a piece of paper. I need my paper. So it works every time, because if they don't uncross their arms, you hand them a piece of paper. And it opens up their mind to really what you're trying to do. Something else that I feel is important is that, and truly when you're putting together a sale for your client, it has to be win-win, or over the long term it's not going to be a positive relationship. So let's say I'm going to use Marco again. Actually, here. Marco has a big oak desk, and pretend there's a desk between us. If I'm sitting with Marco, there's automatically a physical presence that's blocking our communication. What you should do every time is say, you know, Marco, I'd love to show you this information, but I'm really not very good at reading upside down. Do you mind if I move my chair next to yours? Every time. Because what you're now trying to do is, first of all, it is hard to read upside down. Now we're on the same page, and we're working together. So part of removing the psychological barriers is removing physical barriers. The last thing I want to talk about before I ask questions is that if you look on the back of your sheet, is that I pay for referrals. We distribute IT and technology hardware. We don't provide installation, but we use our customers for installation. And if you refer a company to me, if it's for a cable installation, you get $5 a drop. If it's other IT hardware, I pay you a percentage. And what's nice about that is that it's your customer forever. So if you refer me to ABC company, if they buy something 6 months from now and you don't know about it, I still pay you. Thanks to the San Antonio North Chamber. Thanks to Andrea for inviting me here today. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. With Him, everything is possible. I hope you have an awesome day. Are there any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. That's great information.